That ain't gonna work. They need to do a bit of chopping.
No build is complete without a good set of wheels and tyres. Mod plate, blue plate, engineering certification. Heaps happening in this episode, guys. I'm making a custom tail shaft handbrake. I'm doing exhaust, putting the tray back on. We've got new wheels and tyres. The car gets engineered, roadworthy, and it's ready to hit the road. Let's go.
I've deleted the handbrake setup off the 80 series axle. So that means we need to make up some other sort of handbrake to get it engineered and roadworthy. My idea was to use, this is just a Willwood rotor and just a mechanical caliper. And my idea was to mount it off the output of the transfer case. Now what you can see is that ain't gonna work. There's not enough room in there. It hits the handbrake sort of housing inside the cab there. And even if we could, I mean, obviously we could lift that up and move that up, but it's only gonna get us probably 30 mil, 40 mil, which is still not enough. We're still 70, 80 mil away from being where we need to be here. So the idea I have is to mount it off the center bearing. Now you can't do that off just a normal center bearing with like a rubber mounted bush one. We've got a heavy duty center bearing that I'll show you in a second. All right, so this is where the center bearing is going to mount. It's just sitting there loose at the moment. It's to suit the offset of the diff. So the 80 series Land Cruiser diff and most Land Cruiser diffs are offset to the driver's side, or the right-hand side of the vehicle. So if we, in the output shaft of the transfer case is central. So we need to have, I want to have, some sort of way of bringing that across. You need to have a two-piece shaft anyway because of all the cross members and the length of the shaft. So this is where we're going to fix it here at the center bearing. Now this center bearing has been made by a machine shop. Okay, it is a heavy-duty center bearing. There's no rubber bush in there. That's not a factory center bearing. There's two sealed bearings in there and a proper shaft. This will get welded. It'll be solid. I'll probably put a bit of rubber isolation between the mounting points of the chassis and it, but it'll be essentially, you know, a solid center bearing. So what I plan to do, there is room where this is going to sit. There's a bit of a recess in the floor to take this. So we can just dent the floor up a little bit more. This will come down a little bit, and that will be where our handbrake rotor will mount off the flange pattern. Need to make a ring up or an adapter for this in here to mount it to that. So the first job is delete the original center bearing mount. That's going to get in the way, and then we're going to check in the mounting plates. We need to do a bit of chopping. Now we've got to go through and actually position this. Now it's quite important. There's a couple of things we've got to consider with this. There's obviously the angle, okay, of these faces. Now the one towards the drive shaft, the rear tail shaft here, is not as important because we can adjust it with the links. We've got adjustment in the pinion angle. So what we want is that the flange faces are all parallel with the way they're heading. So this front one heading towards the transfer case needs to be parallel with that one because it's on that drive shaft. So this one's about 2 degrees off plumb, leaning down, pointing downwards. So I need to point that one upwards. So they're in the same plane, parallel. So another thing we're going to consider is the position of this in relation to the small bit of room we have up in the floor pan here. So we need to make sure that the rotor is going to clear. We don't want it too far forward, too far back, because we'll actually have issues with clearance on the cross member or issues with clearance on the body. So we're going to make sure we get it right to the point where I'm probably going to wait. I'll tack it on, get it roughly where I think is correct, and then I'll wait till I get my little adapter plate finished and machined
and then I'll bolt it on before I finish weld it, because I don't have to cut it off and weld it again. So I was able to get it pretty close by cutting the angle on the base here. It needed about 4mm angle, a cut on over that 50mm bit of RHS. It's still out. I've gone a bit too far, so it's about 0.6 of a degree out compared to the transfer case output. So I've tacked the back side, and all I'm going to do is bring it back up. Check the angle, bring it up about that 0.6, 0.8. This is the adapter for the handbrake rotor. So on the inside, it has the same bolt pattern as the centre bearing and the Land Cruiser 80 series drive shaft flange pattern. And out here is 8 studs, 8 bolts out here for the wheelwood rotor pattern. So that'll bolt it all together. This has been laser cut from 16mm 350 MPa steel. Steel plate is not usually like perfectly flat. In this case, the speed it's going to be spinning, we need to make sure that it's perfectly flat and even all the way around so that it runs true at the speed it's going to be doing. So we're lasering this face down first and getting with a little bit of a spigot on the inside here so that it will slot inside the centre bearing and it will be perfectly hub centric, so it's running true no matter how you bolt it up. So we're going to get that down a bit of a 3 or 4mm spigot here, and then we'll machine the other face off about 1 or 2mm just to make sure it's perfectly flat and in line, so when it runs, running nice and true. So I've just knocked a few brackets up. This little bit here is just sort of like a bit of a fish plate to go on the cross member where the mechanical handbrake caliper is going to mount. So that'll just help spread the load a little bit because it's probably only a few mil thick on that cross member. And this is the actual bracket to mount the caliper with. So that will go around the back side here. You get the idea. That'll weld there, and then we'll just tack that all in place when the rotor's on. So we'll get this plate on. Taking the rotor off for now. I'll weld that on with the rotor off, and then I will come back and we'll tack on this bracket when it's mounted to the caliper and the rotor, and we'll clamp it on so you get it aligned properly. We'll get some good welds on it, and then we'll tack it, and then we'll bring a brace on to hold it in position, sort of forwards and backwards. It'll make more sense when I'm actually do it for you. You can see I've got the bit of a fish plate sort of set up there, just add a bit of thickness to where I'm welding these bits of steel down here. And that, you can see the plate and the caliper all bolted together up there, and just a bit of a clamp just to close the caliper up. And so it basically locks onto the rotor and centralises it or locates it properly to the rotor. And just make sure making sure I've got a bit of gap off the back of the rotor, back of the caliper really, to make sure it's not rubbing on the slider bars, but it's still got full contact with the pads. So I'm going to go through, weld this on, put a couple of tacks here, then I'm going to go and I'll make up a nice solid gusset to go from the top of here down to here, weld all that nice and solid while it's still attached to the rotor as much as I can. Let it cool, and then I'll weld the rest out, take it all apart and weld the rest out. All right, that's the bracket there, all done. Give it a bit of a clean up, a little bit of spatter there I'll take off with the die grinder, and then I'll give it a lick of 2-pack, and we'll just have to let it dry. So that's the handbrake all done. I'll run a bit of B-roll over the top. I didn't film a lot of the last bit. It's hard stuff to sort of film underneath the car, so it doesn't make for very interesting viewing, but I'll run a bit over. It all seems to work. The handbrake cable I used is just one from eBay, like a hot rod one. It's a twin cable setup. I've just obviously just used one cable for the one caliper. I have just noticed that there's the bracket that I've used to support the cable at one end is a bit on the piss, so I think it's moved. I might need to throw a few more bolts into it, but I'll do that before we go for engineering. I've filmed the last couple of episodes over a couple of months, so I've sort of tried to edit it in a way so it's all sort of in order, in sequence, so when you're watching it, it all sort of makes sense. But in the background, I've been doing a heap of other jobs to get this thing ready for engineering, roadworthy, and then on to rego. So I'm going to quickly run you through some of those jobs. I have filmed them, but a lot of them are just little tidy up jobs, not that interesting. So I sort of filmed it just so I can sort of show you what I've been doing. I'm going to run through those quick few things that I've had done in the background. We can talk about engineering and roadworthy. So I've repurposed the old tray that I had from when I cleared the repairable write-off status from when I bought it. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can go back to the start of the build series. I'll put a link for the build series. It's down below in the description. But essentially, I got this tray because the original tub, was damaged. So I put a tray on it. I'm going to reuse this tray for now. Obviously, I have cut this tray down to suit the sort of style of the car. This original tray was like 1900 long, so it hung out right back here. Great for carrying stuff, but not real good for forward driving. I'm still in two minds whether I am going to keep this tray and modify it to make it look good, or whether I'm just going to start from scratch and build a whole new tray. At the moment, personally, with some ideas I've got, I think I can make this tray actually look really good. You won't see most of what you're seeing right now. Obviously, the headboard will go, and I'll second ladder rack, and obviously end up with a canopy probably at some point. But I think I'm going to modify this tray, do a bit of a budget build on the tray. So let me know what you reckon. Would you rather see a budget build or budget modification of this tray and make it look cool, or would you rather see a custom one-off built from scratch tray on the channel? No build is complete without a good set of wheels and tyres, and I reckon I've nailed these ones. I'm pretty stoked about these. The wheels are a Method 709 HD with bead grip. They're in a 17 by 8.5 inch size wheel. The bead grip technology is pretty cool. If you haven't seen them or don't know what they're about, look up Method bead grip. There's some great videos out there. Dirt Lifestyle Nate did a great one where he basically ran these down to 0 PSI and didn't lose bead on some big tyres. So really cool thing, road legal, and you don't have to worry about setting up bead locks and that sort of stuff. The tyres are a Maxxis Razr in a 315/70/17. That equals about 34.6 inches and is the biggest legal tyre that I can run on this car, according to the engineer. So that's what I've done. They're pretty beefy, and they look big on a little ute like this. I've also bolted in a set of VESS Commodore seats, or Coulson seats, I think they call them. They match in really well. I've just used a set of modified Explorer seat rail adapters. Pretty easy to fit up, and or painted them, fitted them up, and they actually look really good and are very comfy. So even though they match into the vehicle really well, I probably will end up getting a set of canvas seat covers for them, just to look after them a little bit and keep some of the mud and schmutz off them. Around the front end here, I've finished off the bull bar. It's all final mounted, all painted up, strengthened all up and through here, ready to go for the worn high mount winch with a 100mm widened drum. So there was a bit of modification involved with that. There's a video in the build series to go see that if you're interested in how I did that. Fitted it up with a laser cut stainless steel grill, which I've had to chop obviously to suit the winch. Finished off with a bit of pinch weld around it just to tidy up the cut. It's neatened up quite well. I'm in two minds whether I want to paint this or not, or paint the trim, but easy enough to pull off and do it later on if I need to. So I've also gone through and done a full new exhaust system. Obviously the original one wasn't going to work because there's a heap of suspension components in the way that weren't there beforehand. So while I was at it, I decided to upgrade it. So with a 3-inch 304 stainless steel kit, I modified a standard kit. So from the dump pipe back, you would have seen me fit that in the last episode if you're following along. I was pretty well able to use the pipe from the dump pipe back to where the muffler was, and where the muffler came in was back here. I was chopping and changing it, basically to get a different, slightly skinnier, narrower muffler, and then use basically all the pipe from the kit to finish it off where it is there, just dumping before the diff. I had to buy a couple of 90s, but the rest of it was modified off that kit and the muffler, obviously. So for the parts, it was quite cheap. I couldn't buy the parts from scratch, and it saved me a lot of time trying to make a dump pipe and also get out of that tight area around the gearbox. So obviously you can see I've gone through and painted all underneath the chassis as well. In the same paint I did the back end, Jodomastic 90. It goes on quite well, it's cheap, and it's quite hard wearing. It's like an industrial two-pack paint. You can see here I've gone through and fitted breathers to the transfer case and gearbox. In the last episode, I actually drilled and tapped the top of the gearbox today. It didn't come factory with a breather, just a little port right at the back where the shifter goes in. So I've drilled and tapped that out to take a hose barb 3/8 hose, fuel hose, all the way up into the engine bay. You can see here I've done the front and rear diff breather. This is the rear diff breather, obviously. I've done it with 400 series, I think it is. Braided fuel hose, braided hose with AN fittings. Okay, down in here is the ever important mod plate, blue plate, engineering certification, whatever you want to call it, is what we need so I can get Roadworthy done and drive it on the road. Just so happens I had the Roadworthy done yesterday. He was happy as well. We are good to go for Rego. So it's the weekend now. Next week I'll be heading down to Queensland Transport, get myself some plates and some insurance, and getting myself out and about on the tracks on the road to see what I messed up. Tune in for that. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.